In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Hello everybody, once again, welcome to Spin Rack. Today it's me, Mario, hosting the show, along with our friends, Petey.
Hey, how you doing?
Cal. Unfortunately, D-Man wasn't able to make it. He had some problems that we can't disclose right now, but it has to deal with some type of incarceration. But today's show, basically, we're going to talk about the new offerings from Netflix that are going to occur. Some new comic book shows that I think they're very interesting. Some that I think may fall flat. I'm going to let Cal take it off. Cal, you tell us what do you think about these new shows coming up on Netflix and whether or not Marvel has the magic
touch. Okay, great. For me, very exciting time. We've already got the golden age of comics and film at this point, which Marvel is spearheading and definitely leading the whole charge. Now we look like we're going to get a lot of that with the television programs. The Netflix thing looks like, for me, it looks like a solid winner because it looks like they're going to replicate a lot of what they've done in the theater with the films, as opposed to what they did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they wanted to make that, we don't want to interact with the rest of the Marvel Universe. We want that show to stand alone, and everybody was pretty much telling them, no, we want to see other characters from the Marvel Universe. And once they, I guess, got over that hump, the show's improved.
I don't know. I mean, first of all, Cumberbatch, basically they're developing this whole series to get the Defenders, right? And they're going to have Doctor Strange. Marvel wants to develop the whole magical hero action adventure issue. So these are going to be the minor characters that are going to be part of that, I assume. I don't know if they're going to transform Cumberbatch to TV, which he worked in Sherlock Holmes, or whether or not they're going to go to the big screen. But personally, I don't want to color it so far. What do you think, Petey? They're garbage. Go on, Petey.
Okay,
you do what you got. They're garbage.
I don't know. I think it's going to be enjoyable. I only have a problem with the Jessica Jones character because that is a character that's like.
Are you being sexist?
No, that's only it's 10 years old character.
Sexist.
And it actually should have been like Spider-Woman because it's actually sort of spoofing Spider-Woman that she retired and she didn't really make it as a hero.
Right.
But then we have this Jessica Jones character who sort of didn't make it and doesn't even have the history of being a character. There's other characters like the Daughters of the Dragon or Misty Knight. Say, let's do her first. And
Black Widow.
Well, Black Widow they have in the movies.
No, so but I think she would have been great as an individual character. Okay. I mean,
well, if you do that, then you get, like you said, if you do that, you get heroes for hire. You don't get the Defenders, and they want to do the Defenders.
Yeah, but the Defenders are they going to have? Do they include the original Hulk? No, they're not going to include Hulk. To me, that was the Defenders, the original Defenders.
It is
that
for me
was
too.
But this new group of Defenders, it's like Avengers Light. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's what the Defenders are. What they're doing. Of course, they can't have the Defenders of comics because the Hulk was, the Hulk is on the Avengers right now. Yeah. He's got to ride that through, and I think they want him on the Avengers, period. So that's not going to happen. But aside of that, the Daredevil stuff that I've seen looks solid. Mm-hmm. Okay, bringing Daredevil onto the team, I think you can actually get that.
How can you have Daredevil without Elektra? I mean, it's like having
Robin
without Batman.
But you don't
it's
know
like
if
having Robin without the Hood.
We had it in the movie and it didn't work out.
Because it was badly done. This is where I have a problem with this. You have TV shows. Marvel has shown itself to be, I don't want to say inept, but challenged with the TV shows that they've had. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's more like an inside TV show, not really for everyone. But DC has done a far better job in TV shows executing their TV programs than you have for
those 2 TV programs you're talking about.
I know you're not going to like this, but Smallville was on for 10 years? So I think that's a pretty big.
Smallville, I put outside of that because
why?
It's Superman. When you have a Superman show or a Batman show, look, eventually this whole comic bubble is going to bust.
Of course it will.
And nobody's going to, they'll be like, oh no, we're going to stay away from superheroes. But even when they stay away from superheroes, just like they did in the 50s and when nobody else could be a superhero, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and probably now, not in the 50s of course, but Spider-Man. Those guys you're always going to be able to make films for, and people are always going to be ready to consume those. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing for say Sharon Carter or for Daredevil or those sorts of things.
I totally disagree with you. I think these shows, the way they're able to be successful is good writing, good premise. People want to see and connect with the character.
Smallville was good, right?
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people who watched Smallville and they liked it and they were dedicated fans. It didn't stay on for 10 years just out of the blue.
We were
You know
addicted.
what I'm trying to say? There was a story. Did I like the storybook, romance aspect of it that went on and on? Not necessarily, but you know what? It was an audience that they got that helped to develop a lot of these other shows. Their Arrow show, their Flash show, and it broadened the spectrum. And it probably goes into Batman because you have the Arrow. The Arrow showed that, hey, we can have a dark character, Batman, basically, a dark setting, and continue. It doesn't have to be Batman himself. That's it. And I have problems with Arrow. We need to talk with Gotham. We need to talk about that. But look at one of the first comic book shows that's going to fail, Constantine. I mean, you're looking at this. This is a show that no one really connected with. They didn't really explain it, and
Petey thinks it's going to be back.
They said it might be back.
They said it might be back.
Yeah, they said they've been giving them
they can try
finish
whatever-
the season out.
You know the Brooklyn Bridge is for sale too, Pete.
All right, all right.
the premise is good. I
No,
actually like
yeah.
Constantine. You know what I'm
It's
trying to say?
it's definitely not the comic, but it's
The big thing though it gets me is that the Constantine film with Keanu Reeves. I heard it got flack because they said, "Oh, it's not close enough to the comic." It's closer to the comic
Comic
than
than
this
this show,
than this
yeah.
TV series.
It is.
I don't know what is the whole idea. As long as he's wearing the right color jacket and the tie is loose enough
The hair.
and the guy's hair is the right
hair.
color,
And
then it's
accent.
close enough to the comic. The Keanu Reeves film, which I actually enjoyed, is closer to what the comic book, with the chain smoking, fighting the demons and so on. I watched one episode of Constantine, and something happened with my DVR, so it didn't tape anymore, and I forgot the whole show was on. I didn't realize it was on again until I read something about it's being shelved after 13 episodes. Being shelved means it's not coming back.
You're right.
This actor, I'm not knocking him just the way it went through. They wanted the look, but not the feel. There's not that grittiness that I thought that you should have in Constantine. And if they would have done this, it would have been a better show. They have the production value, but you're getting some compromises that didn't need to be there. If that's for me. Now, if we go on to Gotham, I mean, the Gotham, the series, the look, the feel. I mean, my gosh, this feels fantastic. Does it? It looks like,
Wait a second.
the retro look, the 1980s look with the regular computer, the very fact that instead of going back to 1950s, they go to 1980s, and you have the big cars. I'm like, wow, I really feel this. But the story,
Okay,
we have
good,
issues
good,
with this.
okay, good,
You know what I'm trying to say? The characters are strong. There's some good storyline. There's some good plots and stuff. But it's not a consistent thing, I feel.
Gotham, the whole premise is, look, Gotham is supposed to be this jacked up city until Batman gets there and then comes over and starts cleaning up crime. And even then, it's still this dangerous place, even with Batman there. Now, besides the fact, and Petey touched on this before, it's like, okay, fine. It's like when you have Robin Hood, and then you want to make Little Robin Hood. So now we got to have Little Friar Tuck
There we
and
go.
Little Maid Marian. You got the Penguin on here. By the time Batman gets there, he'd be geriatric.
I think that we're looking at. I agree. My main problem is why enter all these different people into it that shouldn't be here. But I do
Fish
like
Mooney.
the development. Well, she's not there. She's not there in the comic book. I don't remember reading about. Fish
No,
Mooney.
that's the
But
whole
I'm saying
idea. You're
she's
creating
perfect.
more of it.
She's perfect because she's not there. You want to have a development of the character, and you can see how Bruce Wayne is developing. And I get that. I'm not crazy about that aspect of the story, but I see the development and what he's going through. It makes you explain when he becomes Batman. Well, this wasn't like he just decided tomorrow or the next day. He had a process of how he coped with his parents' death and how he went about it, and why he was so isolated and he became the way he is. What do you think, Petey?
Well,
You agree?
what? I don't think they need a process because it's a TV show. So any prequel television show works negative, like it feeds on yourself, as you were saying. It starts one way, you have the real stuff or the comic books or the movie, whichever you're saying is the end point, but they always sort of, when you go to the Star Wars prequels or any sort of prequel, or even Prometheus, it's hard to finish the chain, like to get the link in the chain, because you're building up to something. You're just like, oh, we want to use Harvey Dent, but isn't Harvey Dent the same age as
know.
Bruce? No. We got to have him use the coin. We got to have all these aspects, and all, so that's what they're expecting. 5 years, and then we'll be done. And Batman won't be grown by that time. We might have an actor come in with the suit and do a fast forward, but they know that they're just going to keep shoveling more stuff that they think is fun in there. And it's like a weird SVU or a weird Law and Order show.
But I agree with you there. The question, though, is, all right, outside of the villains being brought in earlier than they should be, the development of Batman. My thing is, I like that process. I don't necessarily like the character. I definitely don't like Alfred, but
Yeah, it's too
I
tough.
like the process that you see him developing, and why, what pushes him forward to it. Because let's get real. Batman just shows up in Gotham, right? There was a process, but people don't understand what the process was. But there's a big gap between when his parents died and when he actually becomes the Batman. You know what I'm trying to say?
That defeats a lot of for me, it defeats a lot of what I like about the character, because the more you start getting into his process of how he got there, the less I start to believe it, because then he really becomes this guy who's psychologically unbalanced, and I can't see him making it to the point. To be honest, I'd be surprised he wouldn't be suicidal.
And see, that's why I totally disagree with you. And I'm bringing the spirit of D-Man here, because you know what I'm saying? Because
Wait a second. We might not want that right now.
Yeah, I'm bringing the spirit of D-Man. And what happens is that this is a process. It shows you clearly, this kid didn't just go overnight. He was an isolated kid by himself. Clearly he was seen to be more insular than even with his parents around, but he's even more so than his parents. And he sees the wrong and the injustice that are going around him, and it forces him to develop. He was a smart kid, and I'm thinking, it explains why he became who he is.
I would have enjoyed a show that was more about Bruce Wayne. He leaves, and at an early age too, like 14 or so, and he's traveling here, he's traveling there. But they decided not to do that on Gotham. They decided to do that on Arrow, which is another name for Batman.
I enjoy it. I think it's one of the better shows on TV. I think, in fact, if there are comic book shows on TV right now, he is the top shelf. Everything else is second. Flash is coming up pretty fast.
But is it too
Agent
much
of
Batman? Is it too
It
much
is Batman. He's doing a good job being Batman.
They're taking all the Batman's villains, or any cool villain like.
Arrow can't fight superheroes. He has to fight regular dudes.
But it's stealing everybody's villain. Let's take who's
doesn't
that
ha-
guy?
He has, who's this major
Deathstroke.
villain? His major villain was Merlin. That was his major villain. The other guy with the
Right.
bow,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
his major. And then he's got all these other little sprinkling things like Shadow and those sorts of things. But he doesn't really have like a Deathstroke was like his major one. But other than that, he doesn't have that. He really doesn't have
doesn't.
that deep of a. He doesn't have that deep of a bench.
That's why they're introducing Ra's al Ghul.
That's
why
Batman's villain.
And Batman got everything already. So I mean, we can't share.
What's he gonna do
No.
next? Joker?
I mean,
Here's the problem. You need to make some new villains. You need to make some new challenges for this guy that are specific to him.
Yeah.
That worked. They've done it before. Okay, there were characters on that Batman 1966 show. Okay, that ended up in the comic. Was it one of them? Mr. Freeze is one of them. He was on the show first, and then he ends up in the comic, if I recall correctly. And then the same thing. You get if characters work well on the show, like John Diggle, who I thought was a great example of implying some diversity without forcing it down someone's throat on the show. You made Diggle. Everybody liked the character because you got to see him from the ground up, and then he got transplanted from the television show to the comic. That's how popular he was. You can do the same thing with the villains. Make some villains for him. Of course, it works better if you can have some real established people.
the whole reason the corporate suits are looking at the game, the comics, is because you have stories that have been developed. You have characters that have been developed. There's no need to develop new characters when DC has thousands, hundreds and hundreds of villains that you can upgrade or move or change their character backstories.
Obviously not, because they keep taking from Batman
Yeah,
stuff.
they only take Batman's villains.
He takes the Batman route. The Frank Miller route.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? A darker, tougher, stronger, but also grittier, human.
It's a different look in terms of tone, and I thought that was a smart idea. Even smarter is what I thought they did with the Flash, where they said, we're not going to do that with the Flash.
Exactly.
Okay, we're not going to have the Flash stranded on some island where he's going to get beat up and he's going to be trained to do all this stuff. No, the Flash is lighter. Okay, the Flash is automatically a hero. He's not this anti-hero, something of that nature. And the season finale, what I really enjoyed about that is that Zoom was in a yellow costume. I was like, oh, really? A superhero can actually wear a bright costume? A villain can actually have the costume from the comics, and it's not a problem? I was like, these guys who are running around in costumes, which is all wish fulfillment fantasy for children.
No. It's not for children. Most of the readers of comic books are much older now.
Now,
So that's
ellipsis,
what I'm trying to say.
wish fulfillment fantasy for children, and those who are still children at heart.
There we go. There it is.
The problem you're having here is that you're you're misunderstanding the two audiences. The audience for the comic book is a different set of people who are willing to look at the different outfits. I think that the audience on a TV show is a little different. You know, you have a larger female audience who are watching these shows
And?
who don't expect to have something so difficult to relate to.
All the women are in
So you're
tight.
saying that the women aren't gonna like the outfits?
I don't think that. I think you have a large female audience watching these shows, right? I mean,
They don't
Superman
care.
would not. Smallville would never have been exist. Would have continued without that female audience.
Right.
That's why they played up the love story. Right now, even Arrow, they have the whole love story. I mean, come on, let's Black Canary. If anybody needs to know in America, is supposed to be the girlfriend, the wife, the baby mama of Arrow. That's not a spoiler, right?
No, it's not.
Okay. So, but here in the show, it's going totally left. It's going towards Felicity. Am I right? That's what it seems to be now, the great love of his life.
Well, they got to do that because they want to get 4 seasons. They can't
Yeah,
put them
they're
together.
making them
I don't know.
stretch
I
them
mean, there's a
out.
strong...
They're trying to avoid the moonlighting trap where
on
they
the-
got them together too quickly, and then they
Right.
said we have nothing else to talk about.
But I'm
now."
just saying, the problem is that a lot of fans out there really like this Olicity, as they call it, Oliver and Felicity.
They're gonna
as
be
opposed to-
brokenhearted.
You know what I'm trying to say?
They're going to be broken
I
hearted.
don't know. I mean, you're a TV producer.
watched-
You're going to say, you know, what am I going to do with this?
I watched Smallville for 10 seasons. I'm guilty. I'm
You
sorry.
did watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
complain
deny
about
it.
You
Yeah,
watched
all the
it.
time.
You
I
knew
watched
it all
Smallville for
this
10
time.
seasons, and my heart was with Lana Lang. Okay, I really wanted her and Clark to get together,
Yes.
but I knew it was never going to
be,
happen.
right.
Okay, I knew it was never going to happen. And once they introduced Lois Lane on the show, I was like, this is never going to happen. But they gave me what I needed. They gave me that last episode with the two of them together. He's struggling up the stairs. He's all kryptonite laced. He still kisses her goodbye. She leaves. They're star-crossed. They're heartbroken. Okay, I admit it. I liked it. It was
Man.
romantic. I can't help. I'm sorry.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
It's a big step.
It was
That
a big
big step for you.
They're going to do the same thing with Arrow because you know Felicity. Look, Felicity is not going to be with him. She might be with somebody else. They'll come over here. They'll fight this tension. Eventually, something will happen. It's just not going to happen. I'm more interested in seeing Barry Allen and Iris West get together.
Yeah.
That dynamic I actually
don't-
like a lot. I actually like a lot more.
Yeah, I see that, you know, but
And everybody knows he loves her. It's hilarious. The father comes over. He's like, "Look, I know you love my daughter." He's like, "You know?" He's like, "I've been waiting for you to make a move for years now,
his father
Barry."
in prison knew he liked the girl. He's like, I'm in prison and I'm not blind. You know what I'm saying?
Barry's like, everybody knows I like her, except the only person who doesn't know
Is Iris.
is Iris.
But you see, this whole goes with the whole Thawne thing. You know what I'm trying to say? You have him, Eddie, a nice guy who's his friend, who, and it
okay,
set up
yeah.
the whole dynamic that's going to happen in the future.
If
Why
that's who he
it
actually
has
tends
to be. It
What-
cannot
what-
be. It's the whole
What about the
timeline,
professor,
dude.
the guy in the wheelchair?
What wheelchair? I mean,
He's
relative-
faking it. He's the one with the suit.
great grandson. You know what I'm trying to say? We know what's going to happen.
I like that dynamic.
Sorry,
just like
I don't
that
need to be
dynamic
any
a little bit
spoilers,
more.
everybody. You know, they're making me say it, not me.
Hey,
You
they
know
watch
what
the
I'm
show.
trying to
They watch. You watch the show. You know you watch the show. So no, I like that dynamic a little bit better. I mean, they kind of took it away from me when they said, okay, fine. You know, we're gonna have this episode now where you have this episode now where the Flash, at least, and they're calling him the Flash. They got rid of that streak thing
Yeah, the
pretty
streak, yeah.
easily. It's like just get rid of it. Like the vigilante, the hood,
Oh, okay.
the arrow, and then eventually he's gonna put green in front of it. I was like, it's ridiculous. But you know, they went straight with that. But I like the whole dynamic where he's like, look, Barry, everybody knows you're in love with Iris. When is this gonna happen? But the other thing from the comics is that Barry and Iris are a couple. Then they're married, and it was never an issue. Okay, it was never an issue. They had, you know, this whole playful banter, and so you can get those two together a lot faster without having to drag it out and them being star-crossed and so on and so forth. That can actually work a lot better. And then you can focus on the stuff that I'd rather see. Good stories. The villains, the way they've introduced them, I have to say, every villain they've introduced on
Flash.
The Flash has been pretty, with Captain Cold, I think, really being the top of it. Okay, but all of the Rogues Gallery that they've introduced, who's actually the part of the Flash's Rogues Gallery, they've done a good job. They've done a good job on it.
I think
Captain
they've done a-
Boomerang, good job.
I think they've done an actually. I don't know if you've seen it, PD, but they've done a good job of developing all the metahumans to me, as a class of people and villains.
Metahumans.
That's what they're calling them, metahumans.
So that's your DC
You
always
mean
has
like
to have
a
that name.
mutant? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
No,
Like
mutant
a
is
mutant.
mutant is
No,
Marvel.
so they had the catalyst in the pilot, right?
Right.
They had the big explosion that spread across.
And made mutants?
Made
Mutants,
no,
you say?
not-
Metahuman.
Mutant.
No, mutants born that way.
Metahumans.
It was a catalyst that pushed.
So
them
their
forward.
children will be mutants.
Their children could be metahumans.
I love that episode. He was fighting the guy who could transform into metal.
Right.
And he's doing stuff the speed, but of course it's not working. And then he runs away. Iris is like, he left, and these guys are left. He's like, no, he didn't run away. He ran back exactly 5.3 miles. He's going for it. And the guy's over here, and he's like, yeah, go for it, Barry. And then me, I'm home watching the TV, like, yeah, go for it, Barry. But that I liked. I like the whole exuberance that it's actually cheerleading. Like, no, this is a good scene. You need to be in on this, and I was fully in on it.
Rico is fantastic in that show. I really like that kid.
And I was have to admit, I was very critical. I was disappointed in the pilot. When I saw that first episode, I was like, whatever. I didn't like the outfit, but by the second episode, when they had this great sequence with him and Jim, Detective West, and he's like, look, you can't go out here and do this stuff, Barry. You're gonna get killed. And Barry's like, he said, look, you're my boy. He's like, I'm not your boy. You're not my father. My father's in prison, and I'm gonna do what I want. So they got the Parker-esque stuff out. I'm gonna have the little squabble here.
But it came back at the end.
No, but the great thing about it was that the other guy comes. I forget the guy in the wheelchair's name. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But he comes over to him and he tells him, look, I have a little thing about kids, and kids, if they want to do something, they're usually gonna do it. So Barry's gonna get back in that suit. Okay, he's messed up, but he's going to end up getting in that suit. And now he's probably going to end up getting killed. Why? Because he doesn't have the confidence anymore to do what he's doing. That's where you come in. You've got to tell this cat that he can do this stuff. And he goes over and tells him, yeah, you can do this. He's like, I don't necessarily approve, but if you're going to do this, I'm with you, and you can do this.
So let's get back to Marvel and Netflix, and then we will...
What about, we got the Supergirl show coming down the pike?
Nope.
Krypton show coming down the pike? What's wrong with those shows?
I'm not even going to touch it about people not even being American.
Was it Krypton?
No, Krypton, I'm with you. I think that's a bust. Supergirl, they don't even want to put Superman on the show. I was like, okay, so when that lasts a season, you'll know why. But the Marvel stuff?
I think that, for me, Jessica Jones, like you said before, there's not a lot of backstory there to me to develop a genre. And I'm not knocking it. I think there's other characters.
Just steal some of Batman's villains and you'll be fine.
Marvel, you have, I think Power Man and Iron Fist, I do like that, but it depends on how they execute it. Daredevil, I'm already disappointed. There's no Elektra, so already I'm looking the other way.
She can come later. Maybe next season they can decide.
Well, let's see if it survives that long.
We're not going to see Power Man and Iron Fist since they're going to have separate shows.
I know, which makes, it takes away from them, man. I want to see Shangri-La. I want to see them go and develop. I want to see the hands. I want to see the dragons. I want to go.
But that's all Iron Fist. You can see all of that just for Iron Fist.
Yeah, but I want to see Power Man together. I just thought it was cool.
Power Man doesn't have that deep of a bench either, unless we're going to look at Moses Magnum.
There he is, Moses Magnum.
No.
The Sugar Man. I think the Sugar Man is one of those characters.
No, I never really liked a lot of their villains.
He doesn't have. No, Power Man doesn't have any villains. The only person who has a worse villain than him is Black Goliath. That's pretty much it. He doesn't have any good villains, but he was what's his guy's name? Brian Michael Bendis. He liked him and decided he was going to turn him out. He was going to stud him out.
See, this is where we're going back to the whole Jessica Jones. You're treating her like an object, and I think that she's.
That's what Bendis did. Yeah. Bendis treated her as an object.
Yes, she did.
Look, she got. You have to think about it. If Jessica Jones is his creation, he's got the clout that he has as Marvel. Would anybody else really have taken this character as far as she did? No. Bendis wrote all of these books, and he brought his character along. He, what is it? He groomed her. Okay, he fostered her all the way along to the point where now, he linked her up with one of the mate who, and then Power Man, of course, gets more prominent too. So he links those two together. That's pretty much what happened. He made that character and decided, no, I'm going to bring this character along, and he had the clout to continue to do such. Most writers do that. They want to bring their characters along. They just don't have the clout. Other than that, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about Jessica Jones, I think.
All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. So what do you think? Well, we covered quite a few topics. Arrow, Flash, what do you think?
Hey, thumbs up. Those are great shows. Those are great shows if you're a comic book lover, and if you're not a comic book lover, they're still very entertaining. They've got the right stuff on those two shows.
I'm in agreement. Both shows are fun. A little too much Batman in Arrow, but otherwise it's good.
Okay. Well, you know how I feel. I think they're good, very good shows, and I think DC has right now the right blueprint for making these shows right. Now, but going back to you, Cal, what do you think about the Netflix shows?
That's going to hit. That's going to hit. That's going to hit, and that's going to hit very well because it's going to allow people to binge watch. So they're not going to have to do every week. They're going to be able to consume it at one point. Netflix just put out the show Marco Polo. Marco Polo is not a very good show. critical wise. But people are watching it and they are enjoying it because they get to just watch
Stay
and get the
alone.
whole thing, and that's smart on their part. So those Marvel, and then it's got the Marvel name behind it too, so that's going to push it. So it's going to do very well. It's going to do very well.
What about you? What do you think?
I say it's going to work out. I just have my own personal issue with one of the characters, but otherwise, I think
Which
it's gonna-
character is that?
Jessica Jones. I know.
I'm of two minds with that. I'm not sure it's going to work as well as Marvel has. I think they're going to put a lot of resources behind it. I think they're going to do as much as they possibly can. But you know, there's an element of resource and whether there's enough of an audience for it. That's my thought on it. Lastly, which do you think is the best comic book show on TV depiction that they have out now? P, I'll give it to you.
Flash.
Flash?
What I've seen of Flash, I've enjoyed.
The Flash. Arrow is Batman to a large extent. The Flash. Gotham is a load of crap.
Well, you know, I won't go that far. I mean, I gotta say, the feeling in Batman in Gotham is just so. I like it. I mean, I feel that they've just captured the mood in that show. Now, there's several elements I don't like, but I think it's something that I'm going to continue to watch just to see it develop. Hopefully, they can get everything on track. I think personally, the best show on TV right now, best comic book show is Arrow. You know, especially with the Ra's al Ghul. Now, if they do, what is it? The story, the head of the demon. What is it? The son of the demon.
Yeah.
Then I think it's just going.
You can't do that story.
But they're
though.
doing it already.
They're not doing the son
In
of
order
the
for you to do
Demon.
Son of the Demon, Ollie would have to get with Talia and knock her
It doesn't
out.
have to be Talia. It could be the other one. It's Talia, right? The one who's on the show now.
That's Talia. That's his daughter.
No.
Right. There's two. The daughter who's with
Don't
Batman.
do
What's
it.
her name?
Talia.
No, the one now in the show. That's not the same one.
Yes, it is. That's Talia. Talia al Ghul.
it
That's the one
Talia
who.
al
That's the
Ghul?
one who he gets pregnant in the Son of the Demon.
don't
Talia.
know. Probably
Not the
he'll
other
say-
sister, not
probably
the
he'll-
other sister.
Probably he'll say, "This is the sister. Batman. I want you to be the new head of the.
What do you mean? I don't know.
I'm choosing you to be the new head."
And then we have another problem, which I guess we have to end on. Robin rises. Robin becoming a superpowered character.
No, we understand why that's happening. That's
We
because
don't- I don't understand why it's happening.
you know
we
why
need
it's happening.
Nightwing
It's
back.
happening because of you. That's why it's happening. It's because
You
all this
did it.
fan. It's all this. It's those fans out there, okay, who love this character to the point they don't care what happens to him as
Lord.
long as he's there and he's running around doing this malarkey. Okay, it's Jason Todd,
No, I
man.
don't appreciate the discussions that we're segueing into. You know, we're not talking about killing important members of the Superman family, but yet we seem to constantly come back to this. But it's okay.
Silencio. You are not one of us.
All right, well, everybody, I just want to say thank you once again for showing up to Spinner Rack. Of course, we're going to bring the show back down. Hopefully, D-Man will be here. But once again, thanks again for showing up. Cal, Petey, and Mario signing out. Thank you very much.